Have you ever stopped midweek and thought to yourself,
How am I this competent and still not financially free?
not because you're failing, but because deep down, you know your income is still tied to somebody else's decision? Somebody else's decision about what your skills are worth, when you can grow, and even how much freedom you get. Somewhere along the way, you became extremely valuable to lottie dottie and everybody except yourself. And that quiet frustration, the one most women carry privately, that's what I want to talk about today. If you're new here, my name is Nick Scott. I'm the founder of Her Income Edit, where I help professional women turn their existing skills into coaching income, digital products, and online businesses. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to identify the skills you already have, how to turn them into a coaching offer, and I'll be getting into what's keeping most women from building something of their own. If you haven't figured out what your coaching topic even is yet, I want you to drop ideas down in the comments and I'll send you the link to my free guide, 101 Coaching Ideas. Because sometimes the hardest part isn't creating skills, it's recognizing the skills you already have. And stay with me until the end because I'll be sharing the exact reason so many brilliant women stay stuck in preparation mode for years, even when they already have more than enough to start. To start off, I want to offer you this perspective. Your 9 to 5 was never just a job. It's a curriculum. Think about it. Every difficult conversation you've navigated, every system you built or improved, every single problem that landed on your desk because everyone knew you'd know what to do with it, every single person who trusted your judgment over their own, all of that was training. You were building skills the entire time, but when you've been competent for years, you stop noticing how rare your skills are because what feels normal to you now was hard for you once. The things that feel effortless to you today are often the exact things someone else is desperately trying to figure out. And most women, they miss this, not because they lack value, but because they've spent so long being capable, they've stopped seeing their own capability. And there's something specific worth calling out here. The skills most undervalued by the women who have them are almost always the ones wanted by the people who don't. I want you to think about what that means for a minute. It means the thing you do that feels like second nature to you might be the exact skill someone else has been searching for and hasn't been able to find it. And it isn't because the skill doesn't exist out there. It's because the person who has it never even thought to offer it. Now, let's get into these steps. So step one of identifying your skills is recognizing what people already rely on you for, not your job title or the polished version of yourself you put on LinkedIn. I'm talking about the real life skills people naturally trust you for. Here's the signal to look for. Think about the questions people ask you most often, not the questions you get asked in a job interview, but in real life. Questions like,
How do you stay organized? How do you make that transition? How are you managing all of this while working a full-time job?
the fact is, people don't ask for help with things that they can figure out by themselves. They're coming to you because you can see something that they can't. And that right there, that is your coaching zone. And it's worth taking a moment to audit it. Write down the last 3 times someone came to you with a problem that wasn't in your job description. And here's something else that's important. You don't need to know all the things to help somebody. You just need to know more than the person currently struggling. A lot of women disqualify themselves by comparing their skills to industry celebrities instead of the people they're meant to help. Your ideal client isn't looking for perfection. She's looking for proximity. She's looking for someone who feels relatable. She's looking for someone who understands what her everyday life feels like. And that emotional connection, it matters more than most women realize. Now, once you've identified your skill, the next step is getting specific about the problem you solve. And this is where most women start to overcomplicate things. But the truth is, clarity creates momentum. A vague offer is hard for anyone to buy. When someone can't quickly understand what you help with, they move along. The goal isn't choosing everything you can teach on. The goal is identifying the clearest transformation you can help someone consistently achieve. Helping women feel more confident is very broad and vague. Helping women speak up in meetings after years of professionally shrinking, that is specific. Specificity helps people see themselves inside of the transformation you provide. And that's what makes your offer feel relevant enough for someone to buy. Now, I was talking to a woman who had spent years in healthcare operations, and to her, she was just doing her job. But when we unpacked what she genuinely learned, we realized that she developed systems for helping overwhelmed teams function entirely under pressure. And that wasn't just work experience, that was a skill. And once she stopped minimizing that skill, she realized there were people who would absolutely pay a premium for that guidance. And that right there is the shift. Now let's talk about who you help. Your ideal client is usually not a random stranger. Your ideal client is a version of you from a few years ago. She's the woman currently struggling with something you've already figured out. And that matters because your story creates trust. Not because your life is perfect, but because your life is real. A woman navigating burnout wants guidance from someone who understands burnout. A woman trying to leave her 9 to 5 wants someone who understands the exhaustion of building everyone else's vision while quietly putting her own on hold. Coaching isn't just information, it's perspective. It's someone who can see where you're going because they've already been there. And here's what makes this work in your favor. You don't have to manufacture credibility with the person you're meant to help. You already speak her language. You already understand her frustration. You already know the exact moment she's standing in right now because you've stood in it too. And that lived connection, it's something a course or a certificate can't give you. Your lived experience is the qualification, and most women, they don't count it. Keep watching because the next 2 steps are where most women either build momentum or they disappear into preparation mode permanently. Step 4 is naming your transformation. This is the step most new coaches skip. They focus on what they do instead of what changes for someone after working with them. People don't buy coaching because they want more Zoom calls. They buy because they want a different outcome. So instead of asking, what do I teach? Start asking, what changes after someone works with me? Is it more confidence, less overwhelm, more income, more clarity about what comes next? Because that emotional shift is what people are searching for. And if your messaging speaks directly to that emotional reality, people feel seen. And feeling seen is what creates connection. And connection is what creates clients. Now, let's talk about pricing, because this is where most women start to shrink themselves, especially women who have spent years being rewarded for quietly overworking. A lot of women have been conditioned to believe their skills only have value when a company puts a title on it. So charging for your own knowledge, it feels uncomfortable at first, but pricing in coaching isn't about proving your worth. It's about the value of the transformation you provide for someone else. And here's what I want you to take away here. If someone has been stuck on a problem for 2 years and a single conversation with you gives them a path forward, how much is that worth? If your guidance helps someone get a promotion, build a business, or finally stop dreading their own life, how much is that worth? The answer to these questions is almost always more than what women are charging for it. So if your work helps someone gain confidence, grow their income, or finally move forward on something they've been stuck on for years, that right there has real value. And women have spent too long discounting the wisdom, leadership, and hard-won skills they've spent years developing. Now, this is the part where most women quietly disappear. This part right here. And that is the moment action becomes necessary. Because once you start building something, people can see it. And that means there's a possibility of judgment, a possibility of failure, and a possibility of being seen before you feel ready. So a lot of women, they stay in endless preparation mode instead. They watch all the videos, they take all the notes, and they stay telling themselves they're getting ready. Meanwhile, another year passes, you show up for another exhausting Monday, and you spend another moment of wondering why you feel so underutilized. And the thing about it is, the preparation keeps growing, but your business never starts. And I get it, because preparation feels productive, it feels responsible, and it feels safe. But there's a version of preparation that stops being strategy and it starts becoming avoidance. And most women have been getting ready for more than 6 months, they already know the difference. That's not strategy, y'all. It's fear wearing productivity clothes. And I say that with compassion because a lot of high achieving women learned early on that being polished, it protects them. But building something of your own, it requires a vulnerability and a willingness to be seen before everything feels perfect. And I want to be clear here because this isn't a warning. This is just the process. Confidence is built through movement, not before it. And the women building right now, they're not any smarter or more qualified than you. They just decided to stop waiting until they felt completely ready. So if this is resonating with you and you're realizing you may already have the skills and experience to build something of your own, I don't want you to leave this video sitting in confusion. So go get 2K in 2 hours. And by the end of this micro course, you won't still be wondering what to sell or how to price it because you'll have a complete priced, ready to sell coaching offer built around what you already know. Because the version of you who has an offer to sell is a fundamentally different woman than the one who's still waiting to feel ready. The link for 2K in 2 hours is down in the description, or you can go to my website at herincomeedit.com/2K. Here's the thing. Your career spent years paying you for skills that were always worth more than the salary attached to it. Yet you showed up, you led, you solved the problems nobody else wanted to touch, and every single time those skills stayed on someone else's balance sheet. The skills are already yours. The experience is already yours. The wisdom you've earned from every difficult season you've navigated is already yours. You don't need to become a different version of yourself before you start. You don't need a bigger audience, a fancier website, or one more certification before your skills count. The only thing left is the decision to stop leaving it on someone else's balance sheet and start building on your own. Drop curriculum in the comments if this connected with you, and go watch the video below next. It picks up exactly where this one ends, and it moves you from insight to your first client. I'll see you there.